What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sikora Success. Today we have one of our top agents on, Tara Plaza, who's been with our group for, I think, a little over 2 years now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy how fast that went, but yes, a little over
Yeah,
2.
I feel like you came in, or maybe, yeah, a little, yeah. I feel like you came in the fall right before COVID hit. And I remember
Yeah.
when COVID hit, it's interesting. We're in Hudson County where it was like COVID was the worst thing in the world. And you're down in Monmouth County, still just slinging homes left and right. Like COVID didn't exist in Brick, New Jersey. So it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see how where you are in the state, just people reacted completely differently to it. But Tara, welcome to the StreamYard. Thanks so much for coming on. How did you? I mean, what's the history? How did you get into real estate? What were you doing before that, and how'd you end up here?
Yeah. So, well, aside from knowing you, Brett, for a really long time and seeing you at weddings and you telling me, hey, you should get into real estate, when I was working my butt off as a teacher, I was a teacher before this. So that's what I was doing. And, I always wanted kind of to have a job where I can really, there were no limits, I guess. And that I always knew real estate was that outlet, but I guess I never really believed that it was, as powerful as it is. And so really, I started to think about it and really consider it. And I left teaching. And I started real estate kind of full time. I was doing like graphic design. I started a graphic design business on the side, but yeah, other than that, I kind of just took the leap. But I joined a safe brokerage by me. It's a big brokerage, 10 minutes from my house, and it was Coldwell Banker. And I, thought that was the way to go as a new agent to kind of, get my bearings. And it was, I guess, let me rephrase. I don't think if I could do it all over again, I would have started out differently, but you live and learn. And, it was a safe spot. So for me, it was, a way to start and get my feet wet in real estate. But then I quickly realized the potential with other brokerages. And I think when I met you, you were telling me a little bit about EXP, and it was never like pushing anything down my throat. You were just like, hey, when you're ready, you'll be here, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, Brett. And it kind of I left, Coldwell. I joined another brokerage, another actually really big brokerage, with top producing agents and everything. And I was, on a team, but it was just totally different. Like the way that teams are, I learned pretty quickly how different they can be, and what you really should be looking for when you join a brokerage and a team. So that didn't work out. And then I, was like, you know what, you're right, Brett, I'm ready to go. And, since I joined you I don't know, over 2 years ago, I remember me telling you actually that I would never do cold calls. And you were like, why not? I was like, I don't think it works. It's a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. And, well, look at me now. so,
Well, it's funny. And to rewind, I was at KW when you first got licensed. I was like, go get your real estate license, or I think you just kind of got it on your own, or whatever it may be. And then you're like, hey, I hung in with Coldwell Banker. And I remember you and your mom coming up to my conference room at Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting and giving you guys a meeting, and I'm showing you the dialers. I'm showing you like how to walk through all the systems and how to do this and how to do that. And then I had just moved to EXP, I think. And then that summer before you came to us, you went to that other brokerage. And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, at least go to KW, you go to EXP. Like you went to another one. And I was like, oh man. But I had said that to you. I was like, you know what? If you don't, I said this to so many people on the KW side of things when I was there. I was like, listen, go wherever you want to go. I'm going to get you eventually. Yeah. And we had made the jump to EXP. And I say the same thing all the time too. Go here, go there. When your contract comes up in 3 years, I'm going to get you. But it's funny. It's like so many agents have that. They have that fear of like actually going on the phones and doing this. And I remember when I met with you at the Keller Williams office, when your mom came up, you guys are telling me that you're out just door knocking neighborhoods all day long. Yeah. And I'm like, do you know how hard that is? Like, do you know how many people won't do that but we were digging into a little bit more, like, what is your systems? What's your process? What do you do? How are you following up with these people that you're meeting? Are you even getting an email from them? Are you giving them market updates? Or are you just handing them some stupid flyer that they're going to throw in the garbage? So we started to dive into like the actual process behind that. And then I think you realize that you're like, you know what? I can call a lot more people, through a dialer as opposed to out there knocking on doors. And I tell everybody, don't stop knocking on doors if you're already knocking on doors. That's a great thing to be doing. But you really, like, you hit the ground running with the dialer, and you were able to get into deep conversations and adding clients to your database, but then putting them on a proper follow-up plan. And I feel like I remember it was like nobody was selling any homes on our team up north. And every month or every week, it's like, hey, I got 6 more under contract. I got 6 more. And we're just like, Tara, you are crushing it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I really like didn't believe in the calling systems, but yeah, I was boots on the ground, door knocking. Like even in the dead of winter, I was not knocking on hundreds of homes a day, and I was wearing myself out. I was like, is this really the best way to be spending my time?
Right.
And then when I promised you I wouldn't be doing the cold calling and all that, because I guess I felt like the door knocking was like in person, it was personal. Like I'm good with people face to face. So to me, that just felt like it would be better. But once I got really comfortable on the phones, it was like, it was second nature. Like I learned how to build off of like, just the way people respond, like when they pick up the call, like how to mimic how they react, when they first say hello, and all those things that you actually train us on. At first I really thought was bullshit, so, and then I was like, okay, this is working. And then it just became super easy. I was getting it was so much more efficient. And I was building my database super fast. And like you just said, it was a systematic way because of our CRM, what you provide for us. It was like just mind blowing to me that I was organizing things now. Like I had a place for follow-ups and reminders, and I was tracking everything, and it was like, incredible. I was used to working off of a notebook. So I still do use the notebook, but
I'm a big notebook guy too. It just eventually gets into the CRM at the end of the day or the next day. That's yeah. I'm old school. Don't get me wrong. I'm old school. I like the whiteboard.
Still does it too, I think.
So. Yeah, totally. But that if you're actually using the CRM properly, that's how you really scale, and you can have 1,000 people. Like Dan Spitz, for instance, I think he has 4,000 people in his database, and he works properly,
Exactly. Yeah. And then when I started pretty early on, I don't know, 3 months into it, and I was doing well with like getting really good feedback from clients. And yeah, it was different because of COVID where I was down in the burbs and you guys up, in like the city area. And I still was, going out there being pretty fearless and aggressive with still showing houses. But it was good. And then, it was picking up like crazy. And then I think you told me to read Fanatical Prospecting, which I still swear by. And I go back to that book. Like I have like chapters marked and stuff just to kind of like, for example, for this start of this year, I was just telling my, pod that I'm going to get back to the basics and start doing cold calling again, because I really haven't done that in months. And so I picked up that book and I was like, okay, because it really kicks your ass and like motivates you, and it talks about like the power of the CRM and like organization and all that crap that, at first you really don't realize how important it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to the basics and doing that again. Like for example, the other day I was on the dialer. You can check. I think I did like 700 calls. So I was like, okay, like you just got to get back into it really and feel comfortable again.
No, it's almost like a high too when you're grooving and you're getting good conversations and stuff like that. I feel like I would like my blood would start to like get moving through my body. It felt good,
Yeah, no, definitely it does. And then, I mean, like I got 2 really great leads yesterday. I called, I think it was just like an hour time frame. The day before that, I did like 5 hours and I hardly got anything. So you just have to remind yourself, like you can be on the phones for hours and get nothing. And then you can be on the phone for 20 minutes and get 2 good leads. Yeah. So it's like just consistency.
And here's the fun thing too, so any agents that want to come into your world, I'm sure you'll dial with them. Like just reach out to Tara if you have interest in what she's talking about and you want to kind of see what we're up to at EXP. But as far as the consumer, what's really fun about what you're doing too, like your main service area, I think would definitely Monmouth and Ocean. And you do kind of that whole central Jersey, Princeton, you'll do like, right?
Yep. Yeah. So I live in Monmouth County. I've been here for 30 plus years. So I'm Monmouth, Ocean, Middlesex counties. I mean, but I've done work in Garden State. I'm up by you sometimes, and I go to Princeton. Princeton's only a half hour from me, and I love that area. So I'm in Mercer County a lot too.
But what's fun too with like if a client's looking for, let's say if you're looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage or something like that on a quarter acre in Princeton, up to 850,000, we can actually pull the data and see like what, or if you're looking for a specific neighborhood, we can get phone numbers and everything like that. And then you can go in and actually call and hammer through that neighborhood and see if you can kick up an off-market transaction. It doesn't always happen, but like I tell people, if you don't have a prospecting-based realtor and you're a buyer right now and you're just getting crushed in multiple offers and losing out on every property, it might be time to switch to somebody like a Tara Plaza who's like, I'll go find that for you, or at least I'll try, and I'm going to report back on the numbers of like at least there's way more effort than just going through the motions of sending what's already coming up on the market, which is it's what every realtor does right now.
Oh my God, definitely. Just a quick example that just happened yesterday or 2 days ago when I was cold calling. I called a realtor, and I was specifically calling because I had a client who was looking in this Red Bank area, and he was like, "Well, I'm actually an agent myself," and I was like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "But I am thinking of selling." It was a condo, and I had that. It worked out perfectly. He sent me the pictures. And we may do an off market, before he even lists. I'm going to get my client in there to check it out. I mean, but that just happened, So when I do cold call around for clients looking for something specific, it doesn't always work out like you said. But at least first of all, I'm putting that effort in. I mean, who's doing that? So even the agent was like, "Wait, how'd you get my number? That's pretty cool. That's impressive. Like, cool." So
yeah. And I feel like. A lot of times too, the client will say to me, or when I used to do it, they'd be like, "Well, why would you do this?" I'm like, "Well, I'm calling about a real buyer that's out there. And honestly, if you don't buy their property, I'm still going to shoot for the listing. I'm still going to try to get the listing on it. So it's like, it gives me a reason to work, So it's a win-win for everybody involved. And actually what we used to do, so when I was Hoboken, Jersey City was crazy, like 2013, everything was madness bidding war wise. What we would do too, and you could definitely try this as well, is if you go in like now, I would go maybe stuff that sold between 2016 and 18 in Manalapan if you have a client looking there, and then filter it and send like old sales from the MLS to the client. And I would say, take a look through here. Let me know if anything stands out, and I'll reach out to the owner. It's going to be worth more money than what it was back then, but that might be another way too to kind of kick up some deals. So. If somebody wanted to join EXP in your downline, be a part of your family, tie into all of us, or, if a client said, "Hey, Tara, let's rock and roll Monmouth Ocean," all those areas that you discussed, how would they get in touch with you?
So I would definitely say follow me on Instagram, Tara Plaza Realtor, or, I'm on Facebook, but not so often, or you just call my cell phone, 732-757-1364. You can text me or call me anytime.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being a part of our family and finally coming over to EXP 2 years ago. And can't wait to see what you do in 2022.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks for having me.